afternoon. I want to welcome everyone to the Career ROI webinar of the MBA for Executive Programs at UCI Paul Merage School of Business. As Chris said to you all just a moment ago in the chat, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to first say I hope everybody is safe, being well, taking whatever precautions are necessary. And if you're one of the people working out on those front lines for us, thank you so much for doing that to help the rest of us get through this interesting time that we are in as safely and as quickly as we possibly can. We have quite a few people with us today. We have everyone from a brand new prospect looking at the opportunity to come to the Merage School to a couple of people who have chosen to accept our offers of admission. So we're thrilled to have all of you with us today. We're going to talk about your career. What is coming up in your future? You've chosen to take on quite an adventure. So as we get started here, we have quite a bit to share with you today. Before we do, I do want to remind everyone to please put your questions in the chat box. We will address as many as we can today, and if we need to, we will get back with you as well after the webinar because we do want to be very conscious of your time, and we will end promptly at 12:30 today. You're here today because you are considering or about to embark on the adventure of an MBA. Why do this? The MBA is higher education. It is a further investment that you are choosing to make. You're investing your time. You're investing financial resources. Most importantly, you're choosing to invest in yourself and give yourself more education, more opportunities, more knowledge, a greater network, so many different things that you will carry through with you for the rest of your life. A few are listed here. These learning outcomes and benefits of the MBA program at UCI come from our own alumni. The EMBA alumni have shared with us over the years what have they valued most. This is what matters to them. It's things like strategic thinking and the ability to step into an entrepreneurial role when they've been an entrepreneur within their own company most of their lives. Some of the top benefits include being able to anticipate disruption. Whether it's coming or it's here in your business, you need to be able to anticipate it as a leader and be able to help your company or your own business move forward. And of course, expanding your network, something so important to every one of us, especially when we sit back at times like this and we're in our homes or we're on those front lines and all of us in some way are feeling isolated. That network is everything to us, whether it's business or personal. And the more experience we gain in life, the more we realize those two things do overlap. But you're here today because you want to hear the stories from our alumni. You want to hear about their real experiences. Who are they? What did they bring to the program? And what did they gain from the program? So I welcome here today Erin Anderson, Katie Cranford, Oswaldo Diaz, and Valerie Dixon. Thank you all so much for joining us. I would love to ask if you would please just take a moment, introduce yourself, share what you were doing before beginning your MBA adventure and what are you doing now?
So hi, I'm Erin Anderson. I am currently the co-founder and CEO of Usar, a design visualization company that utilizes augmented reality to visualize 3D CAD information. Prior to the Executive MBA program, I was working on the trade floor at PIMCO as a bond trader. And prior to that, I was also in the military as a special forces operator. And I got to learn about the Executive MBA program through just my work here locally in the community, knowing about UCI. I'm a double alum. I did my undergrad at UCI as well. So the reputation of UCI was something that was well ingrained into my psyche already.
Hello, my name is Oswaldo Diaz. I am the CEO of Vanisco & Schultz, Certified Public Accountants. Before joining Merage, I was an external consultant specializing in turnarounds and reorganization of structures of firms and companies. And why I joined Merage, I believe that's the second question. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
I am a district sales director at GSK Pharmaceuticals, and it says I'm unmuted. Can you hear me okay, Jennifer?
Yes.
There. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, District Sales Director, thanks. GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals, been here 17 years. I as well am a double alum. I did my undergraduate in biological sciences, came back for my executive MBA, really to be retained by my organization. My company was very supportive of this. I came back looking at ways that I can bring external perspectives back into the organization. So thank you for letting me join the panel today.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Valerie.
Hi. Or sorry, good afternoon at this point. Hi, I'm Valerie Dixon. I am currently Chief Compliance and Privacy Officer for UC Irvine Health. Prior to this role, I served as Deputy Compliance Officer for UCI Health. I've been with the University of California for over 20 years now in various compliance roles, kind of working my way up through the organization.
Excellent. Gosh, it's such a joy to have each of you here today. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Valerie, I actually want to start with you. I want to ask you a couple of questions, if I may.
Okay.
You started as a deputy and you are now in the C-suite.
Yes, I am.
How did you leverage your MBA to make that move?
You know, it was a direct line. I was deputy. I was serving as interim Chief Compliance and Privacy Officer. Our Chief Compliance and Privacy Officer had left the organization. And so the role was vacant. And so the entire time that I was in the program, I was also serving as interim Chief Compliance and Privacy Officer. And so upon graduation, I went through interviews, so I had to compete nationally. They hired a national search firm for the recruitment. And I knew that I was not going to be competitive unless I obtained my graduate degree. And so, you know, it was a necessity for me in order to make that move to the C-suite to get my MBA. So it was really an investment in my career and in my future.
You mentioned you were doing this while you were taking your MBA on while you were in the position already as interim. How did you balance all the aspects of your life to be able to be successful in both spaces?
I stuck to a very strict schedule. For me, I'm not the type that can work well at home, which is surprising given what's going on right now. But I devoted Tuesdays and Thursday evenings to my coursework, as well as all day Saturday and Sunday. So I just considered it just add on to my role here at work. So I stayed here at the office and I studied and I did my assignments right here in my office after work and then on the weekends. And so that's how I balanced it.
Fabulous. I want to go back to one thing you said a minute ago. You were talking about the move you made. I understand that you also participated in some of the professional career services available at UCI. And how, as an alumna of the EMBA program, did that benefit you?
Oh, immensely. And I worked very closely with Teresa Alvarez. And if you have the opportunity to work with her, she is wonderful. When I graduated, and as I mentioned, I was going through the recruitment process for my current role, but I was also being recruited actively at another organization. And so the other organization actually offered me a position. And so I had to go through a negotiation process. And so I worked with Teresa to help me do that, to really determine the market value of my role, given my experience, degree, what I was going to bring to the position. And she really helped me not only have the confidence, but really develop a strategy around negotiation and you know, getting your true value and being able to articulate that clearly. You know, sometimes as women, we aren't necessarily as forceful or seem to be as confident in that kind of negotiation, but I leaned on her immensely and she helped me tremendously.
I would agree with you. The resources are amazing. And the fact that you found a partner in that stage of your life was exactly what you were looking for.
Right.
Oswaldo, hello today.
Hi, everybody.
You had the advantage starting the program of being experienced in your career. You had had a very solid trajectory up to the point you started the EMBA program, but you wanted to make that shift. You wanted to be in the CEO's chair from the space of CFO. What primary skill, experience, or aspect of the EMBA program had the greatest impact on you making that career shift?
As you mentioned, I did had both the experience as Chief Business Officer, Chief Financial Officer, and I was actually in transition when I joined the program. I was doing consulting work on my own, and I was taking a sabbatical, so to speak. I was redefining myself. And I knew that I wanted to be a CEO at one point, and that's why I joined the program. One among the many skills that I actually got going through the program was, first of all, having the access and the network. That was very important throughout those 2 years that I was in the program. And as I was actually transitioning to a CEO position, I was able to count on professionals, just like in the case of Leonard Lane, who is one of our teachers, and Vijay Gurbaxani, who were always there for me. I had the opportunity to actually go to lunch with them 2-3 different occasions and actually talk about both my goals, objectives, and what I wanted to achieve. So it's not only, when you join the program, it's not only about taking classes and getting a good network. You can actually utilize all of the expertise and experience of everybody that is there. And I actually took advantage of that.
One of the things you definitely took advantage of was the opportunity to specialize. You chose to specialize in digital transformation. Mm-hmm. And how has it impacted your work?
So in addition to, of course, getting your MBA, there's several tracks and certificate programs that you can actually take. They're not required, but if you want to specialize, it's very important to actually take certain classes. In my case, in addition to my regular core classes, I also took classes that to specialize in big data, also artificial intelligence, and at the end, I was able to get my certificate in digital transformation. And the reason for that was to actually utilize all of my experience. I had great experience in finance, but I wanted to take that and take it to the next level. And digital transformation actually helped me not only get my current role, but also actually help the organization move forward to the next level. So for me, it was a win-win.
So you took advantage of many opportunities. You were able to specialize, but even with all of that, what's the number one reason you chose the Mirage School?
So when I was applying, I actually looked into different schools here in Southern California. I was looking at the USC Marshall Program, UCLA as well. But the reason why I chose the UCI Paul Mirage School of Business was because of the network in Orange County. We have been in Irvine for the past 20 years. My wife and I have great connections in Orange County. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to expand that network and those connections. And I can tell you that just to give you an example, I had in my LinkedIn when I joined the program 250, 280 connections, which might not be a lot, but then again, I was a finance guy. And after ending the program, right now I have upwards of 850 connections, all of them people that I actually have met, and some of them known very closely. So it's a program that helps you increase your network. In my case, I was looking for that network in Orange County.
Excellent, thank you. Katie.
Yes.
Hello again.
Hello.
You chose to pursue your MBA to stay with your company, to progress in a company you were already employed in, where you were enjoying your work, and you made shifts up that ladder as you did. How did the healthcare leadership track play into that for you?
Sure. So like you said, I mean, I started out, I was a manager at that point. I've been promoted to a director since my time going through my MBA. Within that track, though, the healthcare specialization was unique. There's not a lot of programs throughout the country that allow you to do the specialization. As Oswald spoke to, he did the digital transformation. I chose the healthcare. It allowed me to be exposed to a lot of external factors that are influencing the healthcare world. I mean, within the pharmaceutical industry, we have our set of needs and requirements and challenges. But this really gave me a more enterprise global perspective that I could take back to the organization and be able to look at things from the pricing pressures. We went to Washington, D.C. We had a part of the program is actually a residential program for a week in D.C. And by going on that program, it allowed for the conversation around the 2020 election, opioid crisis, drug pricing pressures. Things were very close to my industry. So being able to take that information, extract it, and then bring it back to the organization to further my knowledge and then share it with leaders as well, it's been a huge benefit.
So when you were looking to decide where to go to school, did you pick Mirage for the healthcare leadership track, or did you pick Mirage for other reasons and that was a bonus along the way?
The healthcare track was one of my priorities, but I also had looked at USC, I'd looked at UCLA, different schools as well. You know, I think once we're established in our career, we do tend to look geographically what can we manage your job as well as do other things. But the healthcare specialization, I also did a specialization in women's leadership. So I think it was the flexibility and the ability for us to dig deeper into some topics that we enjoy that really made me choose UC Irvine.
So with everything we've mentioned, healthcare is a top choice for you. You've enjoyed women's leadership. Can you talk very briefly about how you integrated your study group into your life?
Well, I mean, when we say integrate the study group into my life, they're some of my dearest friends. I mean, the study group is something that I always joke around. I have a sales team that I lead, and I go, you know, sometimes we're voluntold things to do. We were a bit voluntold that this is the group you're going to participate in at our opening residential. Our group stayed intact for the duration of the 20 months together. We added a few people. It flexed a little bit at times, but they became friends. They became confidants. But the diversity of experience, we had somebody who was in finance, who was an engineer, somebody who's now a city council member. I mean, the wealth of knowledge that each person brought to the table and the way we could leverage each other's strengths, I think truly is a unique privilege. And to integrate them into our life, like I said, I mean, we still talk at regular intervals. We still enjoy each other's company, and we leaned on each other during the program, but we continue to be a source of support afterwards as well.
Thank you, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, Aaron.
Hey there.
So you've had a slightly different path than the other three people we've spoken to so far. You started out in a very solid position. You were working with a major company, and you have since gone on to start your own. Leading your own company now was an adventure that started when you were in the EMBA program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, that's one of the reasons why I even went into the program to begin with. You know, I wanted to be around other like-minded people that were, you know, in a point in their career where they were looking to make a drastic or large change in what they were doing. So I figured, you know, an executive MBA program with a cohort that had a particular age group, we'd be peers essentially. And so I had the opportunity of meeting my fellow co-founders early on in the program. And it was even before the program had started where I met one of my co-founders, and you know, he's also has an engineering background. And so we hit it off there, and we were both initially looking to kind of have, you know, the same thing in mind, that we wanted to find what problem set that we were looking to solve, and to use the MBA as a place to kind of incubate our idea. And that's exactly what it was. It gave us that free reign to take our idea, apply it and practice it in a way that could have us harness the things that we were learning in real time to apply that to our startup. And I think it's really paid off in terms of us being able to use that incubation process with all the resources that we had available to us, whether it was the professors or the infrastructure at the school, the things that we were able to tap into. You know, we were also able to resource mostly interns in the very beginning, and that was a a lot of people from campus, undergrads who are going through their own software engineering and other engineering programs on campus, aerospace engineering, and we were able to give them also some opportunity to learn the things that we were learning and share those with them as well. So it was a great ecosystem of resources that we were able to tap into for such a thing.
What part did the New Venture program play?
You know, I think it was kind of just a Kickstarter. It was a way for us to kind of get things going in the right direction, you know, having a plan, getting things put together and pitching that plan to a group of individuals who can give us that constructive feedback and then allow us to iterate through that process. So I think it was, and we did that very early on. I think it was our our second quarter in the program where we jumped right into the New Venture competition. And that was a great experience for all of us. I had always been used to presenting to large groups. So I used it as an opportunity to take one of my co-founders who hasn't had a lot of that experience and kind of pushed him right in the middle of that Viper pit. And for him, it was such a great experience for him. The feedback that he was giving me all the time was, you know, I could never imagine doing something like that, but to be able to get in front of all those people and put myself out there like that was a huge growth moment for him. And that paid big dividends for us moving forward as well.
So when you look back at everything you accomplished in a relatively short period of time, I'm going to ask you the question I asked Valerie at the beginning. How did you balance all the aspects of your life and do this?
What balance?
You just make it all happen.
Right. And you know, it goes back to economics. You know, it's like, you know, what are you able to do and what is your biggest interest and where are you putting that? And, you know, for me, the biggest balance is at the time was the program and family. And that's always, you know, something that's going to be there no matter if you're in a program or if you're working. But, you know, when you're working full time and you've got a program, there are extra, you know, challenges to that. But I think in terms of, again, you know, kind of doing this later in life as an executive MBA program, you know, I was in my late 30s when I started the program. So relationships mature, you know, people kind of settle into things. And it's one of those things where everybody in the household knows, okay, you know, we're all making a sacrifice here. And everybody at the end of the day knows that, okay, well, this is something that's going to benefit all of us. You know, this is something that's helping us all grow through this process. And there were instances where we would have, you know, the big group events where the class would come together and you'd bring your significant others. And it was a great opportunity for all the spouses to get together and have their own moments where they're able to complain about our absence and our focus that we had on the course. But at the end of the day, I mean, everybody was pleased with, you know, what we were going through. And I think, you know, for me in particular, you know, my wife enjoyed it looking back. And I think, you know, it's something that we would definitely do again. I mean, not again.
Are you sure? You've hit on the point though, when you decide to make that investment and make that choice, you're all in it together.
Exactly.
One other question, and then I would like each of the panelists to actually answer if you could please. So Aaron, if you could give one piece of advice to the various people listening today, sitting where you were not too long ago, what would you say?
Figure out why. You know, why are you wanting to go into a program like this? You know, what is your expected outcome? And I think once you know the why, it's easy to make the decision. I think Mirage School has that. You know, the business school has that. There's plenty of resources there available. And it goes beyond just the business school. And it's all open, you know, to whoever's willing to tap into that resource. And, you know, I'd use a better word, but exploit it. You know, you really got to exploit the resources that are there if you want to get the most out of it. And it's there for you to exploit, obviously in a good connotation, not in a negative connotation. You know, use that to better your community, use that to better yourself, use that to better, you know, the people around you. So once you figure out the why, you'll better prepare yourself on how you're going to negotiate the opportunities that a school like Mirage has.
Thank you, Aaron. Katie?
Yeah, I think that my one piece of advice would be just lean in. There are so many things that are going to hit you in such a rapid period of time that it's about prioritizing, and you will have to say no to some things in your life. But when you realize it's such a finite time, those 20 months feel like forever when you're in them, but lean into it. Take advantage of the extra classes. I think, you know, Erin, you were saying there's just so many resources. I feel like it's an intimate setting where everybody wants you to succeed and they want to partner with you. They want to help you find what your true path is, but it only goes as far as you're willing to put yourself out there. So just lean in, take advantage of every extra class you can, every bit of knowledge, just absorb it, because it's a phenomenal 2 years experience. And, or I don't know, it's 18 months, whatever the duration is, but you know, I mean, just, it'll pass so quickly. And people said that to us, and you feel a little overwhelmed when you're in the class and you're thinking minutia. No, just be selfish and take as much as you can out of it.
Thank you, Katie. Oswaldo, Valerie?
Yes, so for me, I actually have to be with Katie on that one. It's about, you're actually going to get back whatever you put into the program. So if you're just thinking about getting a grade and getting a degree, that's not enough. It's, you actually have to go beyond and try everything that that UCI, not only the Mirage School, but UCI can offer. Just to give you an example, in addition to my regular classes, and I can tell you that I took, there were quarters that I took 3 or 4 classes at a time. In addition to that, I had a family and a radio show that I started while being at UCI. So look at everything, look at the different programs, look at what UCI has to offer. And like in my case, I just took some radio classes that UCI was offering, and now I have a show.
Thank you, Oswaldo.
Hi, you know, I tend to just echo what everyone has said. For me, it was just all about just diving in. It had been quite some time since I had been a student, and I was very nervous and apprehensive. Could I keep up? And I just embraced it, and also being accountable to my teammates. You know, we were a team, we were going to succeed together. And they are some of my dearest friends now. I tend to agree with Katie. My team was comprised of 3 physicians and a COO. So, I mean, very high powered, very all type A, as most of us are. But, you know, we all work together, and I just say being open to the experience and just putting your head down and doing the work.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments today. You've been very insightful, very honest, very straightforward, and appreciate so much of what you've shared with us today. There are a couple of things I want to elaborate upon before I let everybody go. Today's about career. It's about what will this EMBA do for you? Why should you make this investment in yourself? You're going to do what Erin said. You're going to find your why. You're going to be able to then pursue that passion or that goal. And this business education will be one piece of that puzzle. Part of that will be working with the career office, with the career coach. And you have the opportunity to have that relationship to assess where you are, to define the goals you have, to identify the steps to close those gaps, and most importantly, to develop your plan. What is your plan? Whether that's a formal development plan you sit down with a career coach and devise, or it's something you just have in mind and you need to go on your own and execute as you further your education, those resources will be there for you. You may choose personalized coaching. You may decide to participate in various workshops that we offer in the classroom on campus or through webinar opportunities. And then there are other online resources available to you as well. So one of the things I want to make sure you take away with you today is the personalization that this program can have for you within what it is. And if you have not had the opportunity yet to have a conversation with me about your goals and about your plans, please do. Chris, I'm going to ask if you have an opportunity in the chat box, if you could put my link to sign up with me, that would be fabulous. So panelists can choose, or guests can choose to do that if they wish. Some of you already have. We're a little further through the process. And if you're trying to make that decision, should you put your application in, please keep in mind we have a deadline this Friday. Though I will tell all of you, I'll be looking at them Monday morning. So if you're listening now and you're thinking Friday's coming awfully quickly, you have the opportunity to work on it this weekend as well. And reach out to me if you have any questions about that. One thing in particular to keep in mind is you don't have to hunt down your transcripts in the next 2 days. We can start with a skeleton application. We can enhance it as we go through the process and have you ready to go to committee to be considered. I want to make sure you know that you do not have to take a GRE or a GMAT for the MBA for Executives program. We particularly focus our consideration on your qualifications based on your work experience, the prior education you have, and the impact that you're making in your current field right now. And if you want to get to know us better, you really should experience Mirage in every way possible. Just because you can't get on the campus right now doesn't mean you can't learn so much about us. We offer virtual class visits. Anyone who has watched today, I will set up for a visit if you haven't done one already. And there will be other webinars coming. If you could save the date for Women in the MBA on May 20 and Financing Your MBA on June 10, we'll get more information out to you about those as it becomes available. And finally, what I said one time before, please know that we are here to work with you about your circumstances and to help you make the best next step in your career. I want to quickly check the chat box and see if I have any more questions that I want to or need to address. It looks like we've actually taken care of all the questions behind the scenes as they've come in one by one. Chris, thank you so much for doing that for us behind the scenes. So I will say good afternoon to everyone. Please be safe, be well out there, and I look forward to talking to you when the opportunity arises. Thank you so much, Erin, Katie, Oswaldo, and Valerie for your time today and sharing more of your experience with everyone on our call. Have a good afternoon, everyone.